Hello, greetings and salutations. Welcome back to the BFC. I hope you guys are having a great day. Want to give a shout out to USMC for creating that intro for me. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm going to wait for a couple more people to trickle into the podcast here, and we have a lot to talk about. There's tons to talk about today. IGPK, Dddx, triple DX, as I like to say, QIND, Cgra, and many, many more. We have some guests with us today. Miracle Investor is going to be joining us, as well as Jord Hugga. So listen, I hope you guys are having a great weekend. You know, I get the luxury of being off next week. I only have to work a couple days, which is sort of nice. So that means I get to pay attention to the markets a little bit more. So I want to give a shout out to all my subscribers, anybody that's tuning in right now, anybody that has shared a video, liked the video. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That's so awesome. So, you know, it's just, and I see Miracle Investor in the waiting room, and he's making me laugh right now. So kudos to you right now. We're waiting for Jord to get on board. We're going to just get right into this. So make sure that you're able to hear me. If you wouldn't mind, in the comments section, let me know if you could hear me. We got Bella Norse. Yay, Bella, what's up? Sunballer. Good to have all of you. So this is fun. I'll be honest. The anticipation was building for this one, because not only is there so much to cover, I've always wanted to have guests live, so that way we could have questions being asked to our guests. So there are some interviews in the works with CEOs, with managing directors, wink, wink. That way you guys could ask questions directly to them. I think it is absolutely going to be awesome to give that opportunity to you guys and further grow this channel. And if you're watching and you're tuning in and you just happen to stumble upon Buffalo Fireside Chats, please hit the subscribe button and join the shit show. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, this has been an absolute awesome time to do this. And I wouldn't have thought we would have the community we have right now. So that it's been a wild year. So listen, this Nicholas Coriano is in the house. Nick, what is up? Million Table, what's up? No, Million One Able. Come on, get it right, E-Rock. My gosh, I got to learn to read, because there's going to be a lot of reading today. I have a bunch of slides opened up. We got IGPK. We're going to start with. That one has gotten me so excited. So excited. It was a great week for that one. And they just put out a couple tweets, and we're going to cover that. So welcome, everybody. I'm just going to get into the nitty gritty here. So I do want to start with IGPK. This was probably one of my best buy-ins, straight up. So let's get right into this. Let me share my screen here. I'm still learning the ins and outs of this one. So, all right. IGPK. They're sitting at just under 002. And I got in, and I know I keep bragging about this buy-in, because I'm starting to learn a little bit of patience. 0007 is what was my buy-in. I waited a long time. Many of you are bag holding. And I your patience and holding is great, because I think it's about to be rewarded with all the catalysts that they have coming out, and they're starting to move on the news now. I've had Gene, the CEO, on, and guess what? He's going to be one of the people that's coming back after the annual is filed. He's going to come back, and you guys will be able to ask him questions live. So that's going to be a great experience for me, because I've always wanted to facilitate something like that. So let's go get into their Twitter account here. Now, they did just put out a release. Here we are. We would like to inform our shareholders and the market that the closing with Houdini will take place this week. The seller is on business travel and anxious to get back to close the deal. IGPK and Houdini are committed and excited on closing this deal. And they further said, we have exciting news to report on other deals and expansion. Stay tuned. That is making me very excited, because the stock is on the move. The buying pressure is starting to come on, and I like it. So just make sure you trade for you. And anything I give here is not financial advice. Trust me, I'm a work in progress, and I'm learning as I'm going. So it's just a great experience. It's a great experience when you have a good buy-in like I have with this one. So sometimes when you're holding a bag, it's not a great experience, as we all know. We've all done it. And so they are going to file they filed for the extension on their annual report. That's fine. That gives more buying pressure. With any stock, that it's building up like this, when you have these catalysts, sometimes you have sell the news events. I think the momentum's in favor of this one, because it's been at a bottom, a 3-year low for a good couple months now. So I think this thing is ready to finally start cruising on news. So I know that they're doing a lot of good things. So a couple things I wanted to go over down here. They've been pretty, and yes, Gene is very passionate about the apparel end of this. He's the one that gave me that nice white half zip sweatshirt. I love it. It's great. Gene, thanks again for that. And I'm actually going to go through their website to show you basically the updated website too. We're actually going to go surf that thing. And right here, they did file a Form 3 and 4, and that basically CEO Gene has now full control over the company. So Dwyer's name will be removed by the end of April as he will move on to other endeavors. So more to come. I'm really excited about this company because I had Gene on twice already. I'm looking forward to having him on again. And so make sure that when you see that that alert go out, I will be giving you guys due notice on that, so that way you guys could jump on and ask him questions. So, all right, I'm just going to keep it moving here. Here's from their most recent PR, and this is regarding Houdini on April 3rd. All right, 2023, our wholly owned subsidiary Houdini will close its pending. Sorry, and this was actually for March 28th. All right, will close its pending transaction with Houdini Labs, which will complete the first two pending transactions. The price of cannabis distillate in California has risen this year from $550 a liter to over $1,200, with prices hitting $1,500 a liter. Houdini has received requests for over 1,000 liters to date. The second transaction for Phoenix delivery and Genesis distribution is planned to close in June or July. So that's going to be a huge catalyst for these guys. Because the audits will not begin until after case season, management decided to close on one transaction for the second quarter to get the revenue on the books. Gene Cybl stated, "We look forward to closing and adding the additional revenue to our books." The second transaction, I keep saying that. I'm messing that one up today. Transaction, get it right, Dumbo. All right. The second transaction is slated for the end of June or early July to ensure enough time to complete the audits and file the first and second quarterly reports on a timely basis while integrating the acquisitions. Based on the above cited distillate increase, the California cannabis market is starting to thrive again after seeing a race to the bottom over the last 2 years. Distillate prices began falling as manufacturers tried to generate as much money as possible by lowering prices, causing a market crash. This year has seen more stability as there is less competition causing prices to rise. A potential further rise in the cost of distillate could be seen in the monthly revenue generated by Houdini Labs. So that's awesome to see them moving forward with that acquisition. And you know what? It's worth the wait, I think, with this one. So I think that catalyst with Phoenix and Genesis is going to be pretty solid. Let's go into the website. It was igpk.org. And I thought I had this pulled up. So this is the website. So it's fully operational. Cruise around. Their press releases are here. Everything that you need. It's actually sort of like it's a very simple layout. Sometimes you get these websites for these OTC companies and they're complete trash. You know what I mean? So it's nice to actually just have a simple layout. So I think that's important. They are followable on Twitter. So make sure you add them on Twitter if you haven't. So like I said, I think this is going to keep moving north, and that'll be a very, very, that'll make me very happy. I know that for sure. So yeah, the next one I want to talk about here is Dddx. All right. This one is on my watch list. I am not currently invested in Dddx at all. So, but they are on my watch list. I do plan on making an entry at some point. And honestly, with the market pullback that we've had over the last year and a half, and that, like I said, I'm not giving anybody advice, but it's so awesome that we could add these cheap shares, especially if you're finding these companies now and you're not holding from a high entry. So that's one thing I'm trying to take advantage of. Like if I could right now, if I had the money to throw away, I would put it right in Dddx just because I like the company. I like where they're going. And I think that's one thing. They communicate with their shareholders. They have an active Twitter. They're doing a lot. And we're going to get into that in a second, but they're sitting at 3 cents right now. But if you look at basically the retraction that we've had over the last year, I consider this just a bargain. It's a deal, So let's get into their last PR that came out. This says, all right, this was March 27th, so very, very recent. 3DX Industries is pleased to announce that it has successfully completed an NIST assessment, which allows the company to be eligible for JCP certification. As a precision manufacturing company, 3DX Industries Incorporated has the capability to produce a wide range of products using both additive and subtractive manufacturing processes. And he did talk about that in the interview. I had an interview with Nick, and he talked about those processes, the difference between additive and subtractive printing. So NAST SP 800-171, which I have no idea what it is, but there it is a codification of the requirements that any non-federal computer system must follow in order to store, process, or transmit controlled unclassified information, CUI, or provide security protection for such systems. The Joint Certification Program, JCP, is the only DoD agency that reviews and certifies, which is a requirement for companies to do business with the Defense Logistics Agency as an approved vendor. Once approved for JCP certification, 3Dx Industries Incorporated will be able to conduct business with the DLA as an approved vendor, which requires an NIST score to access proposals in the defense sector. And I did ask about that when I had him on the show. So it's good to see this moving in that direction. And recently they shifted one of their board members. I think it was Harold here. They shifted him over to deal with these specific issues. So we are delighted to have received a successful NIST score and to be eligible for JCP certification, said Harold Blackwell, head of government contracts and 3Dx Industries Incorporated. This is a significant achievement for our company, and we are eager to pursue business opportunities with the DLA. The approval of the JCP certification is expected in the coming months, and 3Dx Industries Incorporated is looking forward to continuing to provide innovative solutions to government clients while contributing to the success of the defense industry. So I think that's absolutely crucial to have, hang on one second, to have those government contracts. I think that's great. What I hope to, and this is, I'm going to get right in the chats here. Let's see how everybody else is doing. We got James Knoll. James, what is up? Own ER. The price is right for DDX. I completely agree. That is absolutely awesome. 3 cents, whatever. I like the 3-cent price. Who else do we have here? Nick is in the chat section. So if you want to, you can ask him whatever you want. He's right there. Future government contracts for DDX. Great stocks discussed in here tonight, especially Dddx. That is true. Government contracts pay well. You know, there's a lot of companies that were invested in here that have that the government contracts thing going on. I think that's important. You know, important. It's lucrative. That's the word I'm looking for. Lucrative. So how are you guys doing? That's 2 down. I'm going to check my Twitter feed here, see what's going on the old Twitter. I got something going on. Let's see. Not much. I thought I had something going on. Just about a bunch of likes. No cursing yet. Nobody cursed me out yet. Doug, what's going on? How you doing? It is a great day today. You know what? Yes, Dddx, 44 million float. They do not have a bloated share structure. When I had Nick on, he basically, we talked about that. They were planning a share buyback, but it wasn't necessary at that point. And they already, they didn't, I don't like looking at it. I'm not a professional, but the numbers were not astronomical. So, but whatever, that's that. So let me take a look here. I'm just going to go down the line. If there's anything that you guys want me to cover, please let me know in the comments section. All right. And actually, I really like, you know what I really like here? I like how the layout is. The layout for being able to see the comments as the thing is sort of progressing. That's sort of nice. I like that. So we're waiting for a couple people to hop on here. And I'm hoping that I know Jord's on his way too. So Jord won't let me down. I know it. He's solid. I hope I'm not jinxing it. Jord, don't let me down. So, all right, let's take a look here. Yeah, thanks, Bella. I will take one of those guitars down and I will play one of these days. I got to work up enough courage. That's just it. Yeah. Schuber, great lineup of stocks to talk about it. Ilus, QIND, Igpk, Drcr, my favorites. Yeah, I'm gonna get in on Dddx. I am. Seriously, I want to get in on that one. Like I said, I'm just following my strategy. I'm trying to make sure that I'm doing everything appropriately and not just diving in. I got to stick to my plan. That's one thing I'm trying to do better, is to stick to my plan. And I think that the minute I divert from that, all hell breaks loose. And next thing you know, you're even more red, So like I waited patiently for Igpk, that stock. I mean, for my buy-in, I'm feeling great. And it will cover Rite a little bit later, but I got basically 1,000,000 shares of that for nothing. So just because I trimmed back a little bit, and there's a bunch of other stocks that I'm looking at, 000 lotto plays, as we call them, that I'm going to try and gobble up as many shares as possible, because when the economy does rebound, which I think it will, by the end of this year at least, I'll be sitting with a nice heavy portfolio with cheapies that hopefully turn very lucrative. All right, so I bet 3DX could print a guitar like that. You know what? It blows my mind. Last time I talked to Nick, it was pretty remarkable that I didn't realize there was metal printing. And so, the additive printing process is truly remarkable. So, red and black one. Yeah, I would love it. Hey, I'd love a 3D printing guitar. As a matter of fact, I work in education. I've seen students actually build guitars straight from 3D print. They get the oh, what do you call it? The pickups for the guitar, the pickups, the strings, all that's like natural, but the 3D print itself is just so cool. It's wild. But at the end of the day, I just like a wood guitar, just personally. So good. I'm glad you guys are living it up in the chat section right here. Solid strategy. When the macro economy runs, OTC is going to boom, in your opinion. You know what, Nick? If you check your email, if you want to, you could hop on right in here, and I could let you in. And if you have any questions, you guys could ask Nick. So that's cool. Yeah, honestly, this is the time to add, and I'm gonna get a little bit more into this. It's been, the anticipation of the show has been building, and I'm getting pretty excited. The fact that I'm able to do all these little extra things, and like I have these little add-ons to the to the thing. Yeah, well, you say Atlanta Brave colors, but with the 3DX logo on it. Yeah, I think last I checked, I think the Braves were down actually today, but they were 2-0, beating Washington up a little bit. But oh, nice. Yes, if you want to ask Nick anything about Triple DX, have at it. I'm going to be listening. I'll be doing the same thing you are later. Yeah, I'll have the ear pod and listening to Twitter Spaces. That's for sure. No more OTC for me after this. So that is it. Why no more OTC? You're waiting for that next bull run and you're getting out. Skadoodly D, is that it? And I'm referring to Gino down there. So it's not for everybody. It absolutely is not for everybody. It is stressful, but one thing I'm learning is that you just have to be patient. You have to really follow your strategy. For these people that are trading by the what do you call it? Just the chart, technical analysis. They're just chart trading. I think that's sort of the coldest way to do it. But a lot of people make money like that, and that's the way they feel comfortable, and they don't get attached to stocks whatsoever. You know, but yeah, as Miracle says, there's more risk versus reward, and so I mean that's where I'm at with this. So I'm trying to find the companies that are lucrative in a recession, that are getting these contracts, like companies like 3DX, companies like Ilus, Cybl, and many others, Igpk. You want to see those revenues increase. You want to see the cash flow increase. You want to see all these things increase when things aren't as profitable, when inflation's high, because that means when things do turn back to normal, you know, everything's going to naturally increase. I'm not saying everything is going to naturally, I mean, but most things are going to increase. It's going to rebound with that. So let's keep going here. No pain, no gain. Yeah, it's tough. It's a thing. You just gotta roll with it. So let's get into a little QIND. And thank you everybody, by the way. Hit the share button, hit the like button, and thanks for joining me. This is just something just totally new that I've been doing more of lately, is the live. And I'm not gonna lie, like covering all of these stocks, like sometimes I'm weighing over my head. I'm like, all right, what are you gonna cover? Why are you gonna cover it? You know, hey, but you know what? I could say this. All right, he can't control himself. All right, Nick, I knew you were gonna do this. Are you on? Let's see if your mic's working. Make sure you're plugged in. I shouldn't have you. I can't hear you, but there he is in the flesh. There's something wrong with the mic. I don't know. I can't get it. It's probably. I'm gonna blame you. Your fault. Press the on button. There it is. I knew it. It just clicked. It was that. Yeah, it clicked. Whatever you did there. Yeah, I can't hear you now, but it's something with that. You should 3D print one of those movies.
Oh, hold on. How about now?
Oh, there you are.
Ho, we're here.
Nick, what's up, man?
What's up, brother?
I'm glad you were able to jump on.
I pawned the baby off for a little bit, so I can hop on this thing.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I'm gonna be during your Twitter Spaces tonight. That's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna be hanging with the family. I'm gonna have that ear pod in, and I'm gonna be answering or saying things that probably aren't even gonna be making sense to anybody else that's around me. So
that's it. I couldn't help myself. I wanted to jump on. I've seen so many cool OTC spaces going on. I think Robot's got one in an hour or in a half hour, and then you had it going on. So anything I can do to support. I've been excellent, man. I've been rocking and rolling, man. You know, I'm over here gonna go share the link again to get some people in here.
Oh yeah, for the spaces?
Yeah, on Twitter.
Yeah, so I was thinking about you earlier. I've been studying my ass off for that real estate exam. And so Wednesday,
how's that going?
Well, I take the state test on Wednesday, so I'm pretty excited about that. So
nice.
I've been taking these practice tests every day, and so it's one of those things where it's like I failed 2, I've passed 8.
So there you go.
Yeah, so I'm just like, it's about wording, taking my time, and all that stuff. And for any of you guys that are looking into get into real estate, I did the Cybl course, which ends up taking longer than it needs to. But I'm going to do a whole video on that and sort of give a review on my opinion of it. There were some pros, some cons, and just a lot of reading. And you just got to stay self-disciplined with it and sort of just keep at the grind. So now I have you here. I wanted to ask you a question. So, and speaking of real estate, like you own 60 properties across 5 states, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's me personally. Yeah, I own a ton of real estate. Yeah, I got involved. My first piece of real estate was $300, a piece of land that I bought on eBay, and I flipped that for $1,500, something like that, and I was hooked. So yeah, I've been buying buildings, land, anything I can get my hand, anything I can afford.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you know what, guys, we did a whole hour-and-a-half podcast, and he talks about that whole story, the whole journey. So please check that out. I'll repost that as well. So in regards to spaces and 3Dx tonight, what can you tell the viewers here about what to expect? Is it going to be very interactive? What are you guys going to be bringing to the table tonight?
Yeah. So we're going to catch everybody up. I don't think we've done a spaces in like 9 months. It's been a while. We haven't done a spaces. So yeah, super transparent company. They have an open door policy normally, so you can go to Ferndale and just walk into the shop and learn what you have to learn. But we wanted to catch everybody up. What happened last year? We tried some things, they didn't work. We tried some things, they did work. So just catch everybody up on exactly what happened, answer any questions that anybody has. I have the feeling that I have some ideas of what some questions are, but yeah, feel free for anybody to jump up, whether you're a shareholder or just interested, or maybe you just want to heckle us. I don't know. Come up and, we'll have the conversation. But I have some base questions that I want to go over just to explain everything that's happened in the last year. And then any shareholder questions, we'll answer them.
That's awesome. So yeah, it's been about 9 months, you said, since you did one of those. I mean,
how
do you feel about the growth going in towards? I mean, like the article I just read through, and I know we talked about this the last time we talked, taking advantage of those government opportunities. I know you talked about the Navy ships. You talked about that.
Yeah.
A couple of viewers, they said, and they know that they could directly relate to that because of the experience. I forgot who it was I mentioned that said, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about." So is it a different? Tell us more about the. I can't say tell us about the government contracts, but the targets that you have with that, like, because obviously this is going to be that certification is really going to open up a lot of doors for you guys.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
So I mean, it's like everything else, it's a process, right? It's not a button you push. So like the government contracting specifically, it's like you need this form, and then I learned so many things in the last year, like a cage code and You know, you think you just log on to sam.gov and apply for a government contract. It's not really like that. You log on to sam.gov and then they bring you to another site and another site, another site. And depending on what agency you're going through, whether it's Department of Defense or the Navy or the Army, they have their own criterias. And then you have to fill out all, you know, set those criteria, whether it's DUN numbers, cage codes. A lot of times it's just forms you file. Sometimes it's tests you take. Sometimes it's certifications you have to meet. But we truck along, you know, and you knock one of those things out at a time. But I'm definitely super excited that we're even playing in that field, right? Like it only takes one government contract really to, you know, explode a company. So some of the propositions that, and 3DX was already printing for the US Navy as a subcontractor. So that was one of the things that like I got really excited. So for those who don't know, when I came on, I flew out there. I flew out to Ferndale to see if they're a real business, you know, because my experience in the OTC is there's a lot of businesses that are not real business. But when I got there, I saw this big, it's like a link. It's like a link for, if you ever seen the big aircraft carriers where the planes land, it's that chain that holds it to the water. You ever wonder where they're made? Well, they're made in 3DX Industries, you know, warehouse factories. So, wow. But I saw it say USN on it. And I asked Roger, I was like, what's USN? And he was like, it's the US Navy. I was like, you guys are making parts for the Navy? And he goes, yeah, but we're not making them. And he tries to downplay it. You know, he's like, we're not making them for the Navy. We're making them for the guy who won the contract. So they were a sub. I'm like, yeah, but it's a Navy part, right? And he's like, yeah, it's a Navy part. So for me, that was super exciting because whether we won the contract or not, we're making the part, right? And to me, it just means that once you do get that paperwork in order, there's already that proof of concept. We're already a customer. You know, we already have that. So, and that happened a few times, you know, one for, you know, airplane parts where I saw it, I was like, oh man, I didn't know, you know, so their experience is there, the team is there, you know, and we're just building out our capabilities because it's easy to be like, hey, you know what, we should go apply for government contracts, not realizing that applying for a government contract, there's teams like, for example, like Boeing, right, or Desktop Metal, another competitor in the space. I think when Desktop Metal started, they won something like $25 million in I forget the government entity that does research, SBIR, I think. It's small. SBIR is the agency, but they won that. But the point is, they had a whole department working on RFPs and government contracting. So if you've never looked at a government contractor, what they call a request for proposal or request for quote, which is how you get the government contract, it's pretty intensive. Like, and you're talking about, you know, a team like Boeing has a whole department that's all they do is, you know, fill out forms and government contracting work and, you know, fill out RFPs and RFDs, RFBs, requests for bids, requests for quotes, requests for proposals just to win them. So I'm just excited to get started in the space. Harold has been in this space before he even joined 3DX Industries. So, you know, just trying to plug and play the right pieces and the right people that know what they're doing and, you know, give it a shot. You know, the worst thing that can happen is it doesn't happen. You know, the best thing that can happen is we win. We hit the lotto, you know, in such a small market cap company that, you know, you get a $50 million, $100 million contract. It changes the trajectory of everything, you know. So that's definitely one of the pieces we're working on. And I just came on the show, by the way, because I'm a constant tinkerer. And when you told me that you sent me the link, I'm like, I want to see what he's doing. How's he playing with this? What's going on here? And I'm like, do I have to go on live? So pretty cool though. This StreamYard. I'm
glad I dragged you on. I am.
Yeah. This StreamYard thing is kind of cool. So, but I won't take up too much of your time because I know I want to touch the other stocks. But man, I appreciate you having us on, and I appreciate you mentioning the company. And any other questions, hit me up, and I'll see you on Twitter, man.
Absolutely, we'll see you on Twitter. Nick Coriano, 3DX. Nice having you on, man.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you, dude. Bye.
Excellent. It's awesome to have him on. Pretty soon we are going to have Jord Hugga and Miracle on, and let's just keep this going. How's everybody doing? Chuck, what is going on? It's so awesome to have you guys here and be doing this live stream. So let's get into a little QIND. Now, this thing has been going very, very nicely. My favorite price at this was at 28 cents. And 28 cents was right where it left off at WSFT. And if you got in, and actually it dipped pretty nicely, if you got in this, I mean, you're in for a nice ride because the valuation is going to be properly affected by the reflected in the share price coming up because these guys have a lot going on, and this is definitely related to Ilus. So, you know, that's we'll talk about that in a second. But let me share my screen again. Let me be all fancy here with the StreamYard that I'm using. So, all right, let's get QIND up here. All right, so they closed at 58.5 on Friday, and this is going to be one to watch this week. Fully SEC reporting and audited. And JP Backwell is the CEO. I've had him on the show multiple times. I look forward to having him on live at some point in the next week or two, 3 weeks or so, just to talk about the just happenings of ILS, happenings of QIND. So if you are a shareholder, you want to tune in, and that way you can ask questions direct. All right, and I love doing the interviews, but I also like to make sure that you guys get an opportunity to ask things directly. So that way there's no like hearsay or, it's easy to get fooled on Twitter and fooled on stock twits. So it's nice to go right to the source. I really love the firsthand DD. That's why I like doing it. So one thing that I want to reiterate, and by the way, I'm going to put links to everything is already in the description. The link for IGPK, their website, Native Outfitters, DDX, 3DX. I just got to say 3DX and stop being a bone. All right. Listen, everything is in the description below. So check that out, as well as all of these reports are in the description. So have at it. And I will be talking more about the reporting aspect of this, because I'm going to have a special guest in the next couple of weeks that's going to teach us how to break down these 10Ks and break down these reports. So that way we know what to look for. We know the little ins and outs when reading through these. Because I'll tell you, I go right to the charts. I look for the revenues. I look for the net profits. I look for the expenditures. That's what I look for. I'm like a charts guy. I like my pictures. I like my graphs. It makes it easier for me. But this guest is going to have basically has a wealth of knowledge, has a CPA, and is going to walk us through what to look for in these filings. So let's look at this specifically in the QIND filing. And I want to reiterate this, and I will not stop reiterating this at all, that 77.6 shares, all right, held by Ilus, all right, in which Mr. Link has voting and dispositive rights. Dispositive. Oh my God. I am just struggling today. I can't, I just think I need more Bradwisers here. Yes, I meant to say Bradwisers. So if you look at this, 75.5% is what we own. All right. And I say we being a part of the Ilus fam. This is absolutely important. So, when we talk about Ilus not having their filings and they file for that extension, it's because they really want to focus and make sure they get QID right, which they did. And I guarantee we'll see it. We get to report that. All right. That's so important. We get to report these revenues. We get to report the numbers. This is automatically going to drive the value of Ilus up. And this is just one leg of the spider, as I continually say. So this whole report, if you go through it, there's just a ton of stuff, Just look for the 3 months ending. Just look at that period to the other period. 9.6 million to nothing. Their net profit, they were operating at a loss of 147,000. You know what? They have a profit of 2.5 million. So the quarter four on quarter four is absolutely awesome. So I'm going to put this down in the description. And this goes on right here to say, talks about what I just talked about. I just took a couple quick notes here, highlights about the 77 of the outstanding shares. So listen, this is directly related to Ilus. It affects Ilus. So, as an Ilus shareholder, you may be like, all right, when is our time? Well, I think that it's going to, the share price is going to respond to this eventually. And, there has been some more attention brought to it, but I think some people haven't connected the dots yet. So, all right. And the Xshire put out, QIND earned 65 million in rev last year, ending December 31st, 2022, compared to 0 year ended December 31st, 2021. Increased rev results of our acquisition of Quality International and consolidation in 2022. Quarter over quarter, we saw a 47.8% increase in the revenue of 9.1 million from 19.1 million in quarter 3 to 28.2 million in quarter 4. And it says right here, this was taken right from that piece, Quality International has signed purchase orders exceeding $150 million in various stages of the manufacturing process and an additional $220 million in expected orders. All right. The company forecasts revenue upward of $150 million for the year 2023 and will file an 8K for its acquisition of Quality International with pro forma financial information within 71 days of the closing date, March 6, 2023. So listen, this is just it. They're doing everything that they said they're going to do. And, that's the truth. There's a lot of hearsay. There's a lot of nonsense out there. And I'll tell you right now, like, I just sort of ignore the noise. You gotta just ignore the noise. I don't even listen to it anymore. Don't listen to it anymore. I just don't. Let me see. Let's see. What did you do? Let me see here. Let me get back to the comment section. Oh yeah, and by the way, I gotta say, what I was gonna say. People, they don't. They think they're pivoting from the very first annual shareholder meeting that they had. They laid this plan out of using spinoffs, basically adding subsidiaries and launching subsidiaries to the NASDAQ and increasing the growth of Ilus and their books naturally from those subsidiaries for an uplisting. And it's going to take time, but this is it in full motion right here. And so, all right, what do we got? What's going on with CYBL not being pink yet? Yeah, tell me about it. It's like it's drama, but I think that we're going to see pink this week. All right, that's my prediction, and I will talk about CYBL in a few. But yeah, no, I think that they're going to get pink this week. I hope that's the case. I thought they were going to be pink months ago, and I was completely wrong. So, it's just, you just got to roll with it. I think when they do get current, I think this thing is going to rip the heads off of people. I think CYBL is going to be massive. I think that they have huge contracts in the works with the DoD. I think they have a huge acquisition, as they stated in their annual report, in the works. So you're going to want to be on that one. You're going to want to be paying attention to it, especially if you're in it and you're down, like I'm down. I can't wait to buy more on the write up, because they have a lot planned. And I think they're going to be doing share buybacks right out of the gate when they're as early as possible, because, yes, I did. And actually, I'm going to cover Sam's article. I actually have Sam's article pulled up here. So when I do cover CYBL in a little bit, I'm just waiting for Jord to come in. He was on briefly, and so I'm just waiting for him to pop back on. And I'm going to bring in Miracle and Jord Hugga. Jord, where are you? Where are you, Jord? Son of a gun. So, but yeah, no, yeah. The poison pill isn't, and this is the whole thing. That whole thing is not a negative thing. It sounds bad. It does. But the truth is, when we use the term poison pill, it's basically so somebody can't have a hostile takeover of the company. So I'm not worried. I think they're doing it to protect the company, but the filings, and I reached out to a couple people regarding that. And you know what? Screw it. I'll wait. I'll jump ahead, and we could talk CYBL right now, because you guys are talking about it. Let's just get to it. So let me share my screen right here, because I have reached out to some people regarding this, and it appears that they will not need that extra disclosure. So hang on one second, guys. I'm still getting used to this. Miracle, call George. See where he's at. I am the drama teacher. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, we got a show in a couple weeks. We'll see how that goes. We're all pulling our hair out, but that's what happens. So, all right, let's talk a little CYBL. I'll jump ahead. Why the hell not? All right. So he did post this, and obviously we're still caveat. And I'm going to keep it real here. You know what I mean? I'm never going to it is what it is. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Do I want us to be in this position with CYBL? No. Do I think they've built an amazing business? Yes. Their connections with the DoD. Hey, if you want some Omaha steaks, grab some Omaha steaks. No, this is not a paid promotion for Omaha steaks. Let's see what the next ad is. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So let's go to what Sam posted. And I love having a talking with Sam. I've been opening up communication with him on Twitter. And by the way, he's the one I'm going to bring on the show to break down a 10K, to break down an annual report, and really find the ins and outs of what to look for in a filing. And so I think it's going to be beneficial. One, I'm going to love learning from this guy, because it's going to be awesome to understand more of what I'm reading instead of just looking straight for the charts. So, I'm going to have him on hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and I think this is going to be beneficial to all of us. So he did post new CYBL article just posted, which follows up to the 2022 annual reissue, a bit shorter this time, some identified issues. All right, so he did talk about this. I'm actually just going to go right to. Actually, I already had it pulled up. I'm just going to get to the nitty gritty here. All right, what they fixed. So this is a positive. All right, what they fixed. Series A holders are now listed. Series C holders are now listed partially. Explained that the Series B shares were returned to the Treasury, 29.5 million, and they came from both Ringo and Downing, but there are still some missing and not disclosed. We'll get to that. Subsequent events added some detail around some movement on contracts post December 31st. And if you haven't read that part of it, I suggest you do, because there are so many little hints in there as to what they're doing. There's an acquisition in the works, and that's going to be huge. I'm telling you right now, like this is going to be the shocker of 2023, as long as they just continue to get things in order with the filings. And he goes on to say, my biggest problem with this report is that it took one step forward with the Series B, then the sentence on some Series B were returned to the Treasury, but then it took two steps backwards. So I'm going to agree and disagree there. I think I wouldn't say like the reissue was like one step forward, two steps back. For being fully reporting to the SEC, yes, but not to get out of pink current. From what I understand, they don't need this to get out of pink current. So, and he goes on, and so that's just, I might be completely wrong, but I think I'm right on this. I talked to a couple people, and they may not need that disclosure to get the caveat removed. To be fully SEC reporting, absolutely they would. Series B ownership, like I mentioned above, they explained that 29.5 million shares of Series B went back to the Treasury. Cool stuff. However, they didn't actually disclose the entire ownership structure of the Series B. I made a handy table below on the before and after picture. So, I put the link to his website in the description. So click on his stuff. There's one reason why I really like reading his articles, and I should have done this. This is what I should have done. Look at that. Jord is back on. Stay with me, Jord. So this is where I'm going with the CYBL thing. I think patience is going to pay off big time. I think this is going to be one of the biggest runners in 2023. I could be completely wrong. Don't take my word for it. Do I want it to be? Absolutely. But I think with all they have going on with the DoD, this thing is going to it's going to be on a hot streak for quite some time. I know a lot of people personally that want to get on this one. So I think we're going to see them do some great things. And I think the filings are starting to shape up. So I think it's more positive than negative. But for the love of God, can we just get out of CE? Because I want to buy more before before it goes up. And I do think they're going to buy shares right out of the gate. So whatever. All right. So CYBL, that's CYBL. All right. I got Jordan and I got Miracle Investor here. Gentlemen, welcome. What's going down?
How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, dude?
Yeah, I've been driving around for almost 40 minutes trying to find an internet connection. Thought my phone was broken. Figured I was running late, and I was like, man, I got to do something. So I just popped into a pub real quick, and I was like, hey, can I get an internet connection? She was like, do you want something to drink? I go, I do if it helps me get an internet connection.
Oh, that's funny. Well, Jordan, I'm glad you're able to join us. Miracle Investor, what is going on? Last time I saw you was at the annual shareholder meeting. Welcome to Buffalo Fireside Chats, man.
Thanks for having me, E-Rock. Appreciate you being here.
So there's a lot to talk about. I mean, we're just going to, we didn't prepare anything. We just want to sort of have some open talk about Ilus, QIND. I know I want to bring up a little bit about Drcr as well. This is really an open forum. If you guys want us to answer any questions, just throw them in the chat section. So I'm going to get the Miracle Investor because, we were talking, about the bourbon of the week and stuff like that. And it came to find out that you have a family company of homemade Bloody Mary mix, and it's called Remedy Bloody Mary mix. So I'm just going to zip it, and I want you to tell me about Remedy Bloody Mary mix. And by the way, the website is in the description. Check this thing out. Have at it, man.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Yeah, it was a great time meeting you over there in Miami. That was the second shareholders meeting I was at, and I knew Jordan from the first one, Jordan Hugga, and it was a nice little chat we had. We got connected over bourbons and talked a little bit about the Woodford Reserve. We shared a mutual respect for that company and their products, so that was kind of a nice little kickoff. But yeah, I'm in the liquor industry here in Wisconsin, very much representative of everything that is alcohol related up here in the winter north. I know you can relate to that, and over in Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just had myself a Bloody Mary. I'm ready for a refill. here on Sunday. But yeah, got a bottle with me. Remedy is what it looks like. And it's my dad's company, my dad's recipe. We've been doing it for 12 years now, and we make a mean Wisconsin-style Bloody Mary, and we just make Bloody Marys for everybody around the Midwest. And it's a one pour mix that solves the complicated mixture of making your own. So it's a good family recipe. We've been drinking it for over 30 years. So that's a little plug there.
amazing.
Thanks for that.
No, that's amazing. You know, I'm not the biggest Bloody Mary. I know you're going to be sending me a bottle of that for me to try, and I can't wait.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
excited about it. And I'm not huge on Bloody Marys, but I don't say no. You know what I mean? It's a breakfast. We know what the difference between you guys and us in Buffalo. You know, we drink a lot up here too, but the problem is, well, no, the thing is, you guys don't get all stupid and smash tables and burn down, the stadium. You know?
Yeah, we're well experienced in handling our liquor pretty good.
Yeah. Do you know what we call that up here? We call that going Bills. When somebody goes Bills, and you hear it happen, you see it all the time. And I know you guys are from all over the United States, and you guys could pick on me all you want, because I hear this shit because I live right around the corner from the stadium, and it's really funny because you know what? We always have this joke of like, all right, wait for it. How long into the game before we start hearing sirens go off? And sometimes it's not even the first quarter, and you hear the ambulances go right down the road. It's like if somebody broke their arm or leg or walked in front of a vehicle. I mean, the possibilities are endless at a Bills game. If you haven't been to a Bills game, you should just go to one, just to watch it, And if you become a Bills fan, you're sure to be disappointed. So, but no, I'm dogging on them a little bit, but I love the Bills, and I think Josh Allen is going to bring us our first Super Bowl. I really do. So next year is going to be a good year. So, Jordan,
we didn't have much to brag about with the Packers this last year, so I can't come back with much.
Yeah, you know what though? I gotta say though, with the Packers, what was nice about that, you guys, and this rarely happens in the NFL, and all of you guys know this. Very rarely do you have a franchise quarterback followed by another franchise quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're really blessed.
Very blessed. That's amazing. I mean, to have Brett Favre and then I almost said Jordan Hugga. Jordan Hugga was not a quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Just so you know. Oh my gosh, I have tons of notes here. All right, Jordan.
Yeah, I'm excited
for you.
to get into some stocks.
Absolutely. Where's George? George, tell us your thoughts over this week in stocks. Basically, what are your thoughts? What are your overall thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, I'm just super excited as per usual. I just keep trying to stay grounded and to try to realize where I am right now. And by that, I mean just like the macro conditions in the market. I had just compiled, not a small list, maybe 25, 30 different stocks that I just kind of picked randomly. And I just looked up what their stock price was that day and then exactly a year ago. And of course, they were all down approximately 60%. But there's just so many things on the horizon that really what I'm doing is I'm just allowing the market conditions to help me update and change my plan. And so I'd like to keep getting more QIND in the short term before the uplist this summer. I'm always happy to buy Ilus on sale, and that's currently on sale. DRCR's, primed and ready to go. Igpk is making, moves and is already up a bunch. So there's really just so much going on that honestly, it's almost too much. There's too many good things to buy right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I completely agree. That's why I'm saying there are so many that I'm covering that I want to get in on. And and to anybody watching, I know that I'm, some people are like, well, why are you covering them? Is it paid promotion? Are they paying you to do it? One, the channel's not that big yet. All right. Two, I really like doing this. I really do. But there are so many stocks to choose from, and all the ones I cover are ones that I'm eventually going to get on if time permits it. So, I mean, Miracle, what do you honestly think about the overall conditions and your plan and your strategy in this bear market? What do you got going on?
It's been really tough to navigate it, and I've just been more taking the observation approach. I felt very comfortable with my Ilus position. That's my biggest position that I hold right now. And honestly, I would never have guessed it would have gotten this low. So I thought it was a little bit more safer than it actually was at this point. But I'd like to to kind of find a stock that I have deep conviction in and kind of park my money there, just in case, you know, something happens, and just observe the market. And the OTC has a long history of just pump and dump slash sell the news. And it was kind of a different animal during this last COVID craze of pumping money into the system and people having excess money and not working and getting paid more than they've ever get paid before, and a lot of time on our hands. So a lot of new traders, and the OTC market went on fire, unprecedented. So it's like you could have picked any stock and made, you know, 80, 50, you know, whatever percent, crazy. And now it's just, it's always sell the news. And I'm actually surprised, even if it's good news, you know, it tanks. If it's bad news, it really tanks, you know. So it's like, what's happening? So for me, I'm playing a very safe. I don't make very many swing trades or anything like that. I just find my high conviction plays, and if it's on discount, pick up some shares, because the market's cyclical and it's going to come back, like you were saying. I mean, if it doesn't end in nuclear holocaust, which we don't need money anyways, you might as well be investing.
Oh, right on. I know. I preach it all the time. It's like, this is the time to buy, and it sucks, and you average down, but you find other companies that you think are going to stand the test of time and go to that big board,
Right.
go to that OTCQB, go to the NASDAQ, the next level. I think we got a bunch of them here. I really do. I think Ilus is at the top of the list. It's always been my favorite stock, just for the communication of the company. Now, you know, we got a chance to see the communication firsthand, you know, and I got to say one thing about JP Backwell, and this is the truth. You know, he told me right out, you don't need to send me questions in advance. You don't. He goes, if I can't answer something, I won't. I go, cool. All right, great. You know, so that way I know, like, I could just throw anything at him. And I could tell sometimes when I do ask him shareholder questions, I could see sometimes, like, you know, I've answered this before, you know, but it's like, luckily he can't come through the TV, the computer screen and choke me. I'm dating myself there, right there, TV, the old TV. But you know, I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. You know, the annual shareholder meeting was a blast. Give me some top moments. I mean, it was awesome meeting you guys. Like, it was packed. It was absolutely packed with information. It was overload. It was very overwhelming. But what do you guys think about that whole spiel? I think it was great.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to be at both shareholder meetings with Miracles. We had a blast at both of them. Had a really nice time meeting him specifically, but also so many other people that I think the real big takeaway for me, because I have the luxury of having been to both of them, is you could actually just see the change just within the two meetings, and how much better the second one was, how they had basically met, you know, not all of their goals. Like I said, there was a couple of delays, a couple of things that fell through, a couple of businesses that weren't acquired, but had still basically made a lion's share of the promises that they had made. And so it was just excellent to see everybody there. After the presentations, I think really is where I really felt like I was enjoying myself the most, because we had the opportunity to go and have conversations with James and Chris and, you know, Dan and JP and Nick, and of course all the other shareholders. And I think that's really where your head just starts reeling, because there's just so much information going on. And as you see each individual speak about their own companies and expertise and what their plans are for the future, all of it is so amazing and so promising in these times that, again, I just revert back to the, you know, thankfulness for being in league with people of such high character and such good business acumen, that it's not just that, you know, everybody's so focused on the share price, but it's important to see what the company is doing in these difficult times, because it will provide insights into how they're going to be able to do in much easier times when money is easier to borrow and a lot more prevalent.
Right on. Well, and you know, even JP mentioned this, the fact that funding is drying up, you know, so when that funding does come back, it's gonna, like you said, that things are gonna prevail, especially with the companies that are lining themselves up appropriately. What do you think, sir?
Well,
Mr.
we're talking
Miracle
about funding.
Investor?
Yeah, thank you. Thank God for Brent Rosen. I mean, the favorable terms that we're getting money from him, that's amazing. Because per the last PR, they were saying that as capital is drying up, or the capital lines that they had have more conditions on as the conditions get worse. So it's like, oh man, having that kind of backup and having him being a long-term vision holder is huge. So I'm excited about that. But as terms of the shareholder meeting, yeah, I also got to hit both of them up. The first one was in Vegas. Had a blast with meeting Jord and Richter's and staying at the Paris over there. We had, oh man, it was a dream. It was such a great vacation, and I take a big step. That was my first shareholders meeting that I've ever attended, and I was just going in open ears. And the main thing I really wanted to get out of there, I value a lot on my judge of character and kind of the feels I get from people, and just kind of observing their behaviors and how they interact with people, and just the confidence they have. And that was more valuable than any amount of DD that I could have done online, reading this, reading that, because through this downturn, especially with Ilus, it was like, man, that was like my rock thing, that I'm like, I felt good about Nick. I trust him. I liked how he gave everybody his full time and attention, whoever had a question. I see his drive. I see his motivation. And, this is a legacy company for him. And it's not just a short term, wonder. So that was huge for me. And if anybody gets a chance to come to the next year's shareholders meeting, I think you guys are going to see that too. And I'll have to echo what Kyle said, because the second holder shareholders meeting seemed a lot more put together. They had Dan there, Dan Peters. He's a mountain. I mean, you just look at him, and you can see the confidence and just the experience ooze out of that man. So that was a huge takeaway for me too. Is like, oh, that was a great addition, and just the way that JP looks at him, and the way they communicate, and it's just you can just tell there's respect there. And all those people, like Kyle said, are high caliber people, and it's different watching it online and just kind of seeing them and observing them in person. So that was my biggest takeaway. And of course, had a blast with everybody, meeting some new people. Shout out to Arlex in the chat. Got to meet him, sit next to him. That was fun. Got to meet Agal. Say hi to Richter's. So lots of cool people.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I think that, yes, and hi Arlex, how are you? I got to share a plane and a room with the guy. Yeah. He partied with me. Poor guy. But no, it's true. Judge a character. I find myself investing more in people. Like when I sit down with sit down with JP, when I had a chance to meet him, when I sit down with some of the others that I've interviewed on the show, and even have talked with off camera or exchanged messages with or talking on the phone with, I could tell the content of their character is strong. And I got that right when I met Nick and JP, and I could really agree 100% with what you said about Dan Peters. And it's like, he went up like a boss because he did it before. I mean, like seriously, like you, like the level of confidence, the matter of factness that he brings. I think that they're all on the same page. I think that they have a direct. I think they're a team, and they know what they want. They're not going to play into the BS. I don't think so. 100%. I agree with you, and that was a big takeaway for me. Just like the integrity of these guys, and it's not easy, especially in the OTC and PM Righteous. I'm going to talk about CGRA next, actually. So we're actually going to talk about that. I'm going to get your guys' input on this too. But no, I think that they're on the same page. But to be in the OTC, I think, and a lot of you guys in the chat are like watching right now, how vicious it could be. There's a lot of good people that start businesses, and there's a lot of scumbags out there too that are taking advantage of shareholders, that are taking advantage of people. But yeah, no, I totally get that. Jordan, you good over there? I'm glad you're not fading on signal, my friend.
Yeah, it's in and out. But like I said, it's working great. And the other thing I think that's really nice, specifically for newer investors, which because of the coronavirus, there is a lot more of, is how lucky we are to have resources, like your channel, like Rickard's Discord, because the integrity and how good a job Ilus is doing is great, but without all the people, working in the background, like Egal and everyone else putting together the excellent DD and all the work and the questions and, all the other people searching for things, is that it really is a collaborative effort. And I think the thing that people sometimes forget is to not disconnect themselves from the emotions that they had 6 and 9 months ago in these different times, because in hindsight, everybody always wishes they made more money and lost less. You know, that's what we want. That is the name of the game. But where we are going to get very lucky is, as I think most companies that don't outright fail from from not being able to survive this downturn, is they're all going to do quite a bit better in share price than they are now. The secret is to find the ones that do even better than that. And as they keep coming out with more numbers, Qind was great. We're still waiting for the fins for Ilus. I mean, it's just so amazing that if it's 5 million, 10 million, or 15 million, all they're telling me is that they're growing exponentially, and that I might have to wait an extra year or two just because they're not going to unleash the share lockup until the time is right. But yeah, for that, I'm just super happy and grateful. And if they'll keep the share price down, then we'll keep buying more. And if they raise it up, we all make money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And shout out to Michael Singleton, the big BS. Welcome, guys. I hope you're all doing well. And I'm glad you guys are on for a live. This has been great. And thank you. I want to give a shout out again to Nicholas Coriano for jumping on in here earlier. That was totally cool. He's always welcome back on the show. I have a feeling that he'll be on here more regularly. I'm looking forward to his spaces tonight. And thank you, Miracle Investor, and thank you, George, for hopping on too. We still have much more to talk about. This is great. I know somebody mentioned CGRA, and actually they were the next one I wanted to talk about. Let me do my old screen share here. Okay. Let me see what I got going on. All right. Screen share. I feel like an old person like doing this. Like seriously, it's like I feel like it's always something new. Where's the button? All right. Here we go. CGRA. Now, I have a funny story about this one because I was supposed to have already reviewed their well, what do we got here? Woo, it's psychedelic. All right, CGRA. All right, the market cap is 7.5 million, and they're at about 1.5 cents. I got in at these guys at about 2.74 cents, which I thought was really good. But like Miracle, you just said, it's always like a sell the news thing. You know what I mean? No matter what. I mean, this thing was up at 10 cents, and a lot of people were upset about the oil thing. This is not an oil play. This isn't anymore. This is not an oil and gas play. And I think also a lot of investors were like, "Who the hell's Nick Link?" And so the minute I found out Nick Link was involved, I'm like, "Oh, I want the stock." So I call this the Link factor. So CGRA, there's much more to come. This is just very early right now, and so they have 500 million outstanding shares. This thing's gonna move. It's just gonna take time. They're building it. Let's look at their latest tweet. The CGRA filings are ready. However, we are having issues with the OTCIQ platform, and they will be filed ASAP. The filings relate to the period prior to our takeover. So that is comforting, I guess you could say. It's all about comfort here. That it had to do with the period prior to their takeover. So it wasn't something that dated wrong. So they did close one of their acquisitions, Savage Barbell. But you know what? They have an operational website. It looks good. And if you look right here, they only have that one acquisition, Savage Barbell, which they're set to grow to about 20 million in revs for 2024. I think 2024 is going to be freaking huge for CGRA. And I think that they're going to grow exponentially. I think he's going to build another 100 million plus revenue company like he's doing with Ilus. I mean, we did hit that rev rate for the fourth quarter. So that's amazing. So get on this website, put it in, put it in your favorites. You know what I mean? And then we have this. Yes. I actually ordered it. So what happened was I talked to you guys about this before that I was going to review one of their shirts. I actually wanted one of their hoodies. All right. If there is anybody here from Savage Barbell watching this, get the hoodies in. I wanted a black Savage hoodie, and they're not available in extra large, unfortunately. So I don't plan on losing 25 pounds anytime soon. So I'm waiting for the extra large. They're just on back order. It's been that way for about a month now, but I did order a shirt. I actually thought I ordered this like a week and a half ago, but I never clicked the final payment button or whatever. I filled everything in. I just didn't do it. And it was sitting in a tab up here. So I'm like, I finally did it today. So I will be reviewing this shirt from Savage, and I'm going to let you know how quick I get it, what the quality is. And I'm going to call customer service because I'm a Karen and I want to speak to the manager. No, I'm just kidding. But so that's CGRA. I do plan on buying some more of that. Absolutely 110%. So have you guys gotten in at all on CGRA yet?
Yeah, I own shares.
You own shares? How many shares do you own of CGRA?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. A couple 100,000.
Yeah, that's about what you told me last time or whatever. But I only have 54,000. I want to hit that 1 cent mark. Would be great to swoop up as many as I can. Miracle, do you have any CGRA at this point?
Currently, no, I don't. I've been looking at it, and I've been chomping at the bit to get at that. That's on my list of ones that I kind of want to delegate into once some of my plays work out a little bit better. But it's a very interesting space because, especially where they're located, like Nick in general, and his ties into the Dubai and things like that. Fighting boxing over there is so big, and it's way bigger than it is, that we realize in the States. So I think there's huge revenue potential, and the crossover potentially with Drcr, I think is lights out. I'm really excited about some of the things that I've been drawing conclusions and reading the tea leaves a little bit of those two things.
Oh yeah, I plan on buying like a lot more CGRA, definitely, because they're just, this is just getting started. PM Right, just can they short CGRA like they are AMC? Can you short OTC stocks? Of course you can. I think it's just a matter of volume has a lot to do with it too. When there's not a lot of buying pressure, and things sit stagnant. I do think it has a lot to do with volume. Jordan, any suggestions in regards to shorting in the OTC? I think that it's inevitable in my opinion. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. So, I mean, the problem with it is that unfortunately, so much of the speculation that's done is built on spurious logic. And so the places that they get to isn't necessarily useful or verifiable. But traditionally, right, I mean, if there's less volume, it just means that there's less interactions. And if there's less interactions, there's less money to make either direction, right? Scalping. But again, what you'll usually see do, and you can think of this as just like, any other rarity of any other commodity, is that the less volume there is, and MSGP is a wonderful representation of this with like 1 or 2 shares traded a day, is you'll see the spread between the ask and bid being super large, right? Because the money makers or the market movers are going to be hard pressed they're not going to go home because we don't agree to play to their rules. So then they just raise up the price so they can still make their money, even though there's low to no volume, right? Mm-hmm. But you can short the OTC, but for the exact same reasons that most brokerages won't let you buy OTC stocks without letting your money close first, as they're so volatile, they don't want to lend you the money and have you lose it and not potentially pay them back. So I think you need something like $1 million in your account to be able to short the OTC, but it is possible for retail investors.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it at all. There's a lot of big money in the OTC. Yeah, I think it's hidden. That's just my personal opinion. You see people you see stocks tank out of nowhere. I mean, that's just somebody just dumping a lot of shares, in my opinion. Like I said, it all comes down to. I think it comes just down to volume at the end of the day. I don't know. I know George will be like this. He'll be like, yeah, no, you're right, except for like 99% of what you said. That's what So I don't know. Like I think volume has a lot to do with it. So go ahead. You could correct me right now. I'm wait for it.
No, listen, that's not it. It's the thing is that I do think that you're right, but I think a better way of looking at it is they asked John Dillinger a long time ago, and they said, "Hey, why do you rob banks?" And they said, "Oh, that's because that's where they keep the money." Right? So even though volume is an important metric that has to do with this, really I would argue what is the easiest place for them to scalp and make the money, and that's where you're going to see the most people. So if you have a stock that has very low volume and nothing's going on with it, I would argue that it's probably less likely that it's being manipulated and people just really don't care about it. But if there's medium volume to low volume and the price fluctuates quite a bit with huge jumps of over 20%, then yeah, there's a ton of room in there to make money for everybody. And so there's a much higher likelihood of it being manipulated.
Right on. Right on. I'm gonna keep this thing going. Yes, let's see. Somebody just posted a comment. I don't want to short. I'm talking about like Citadel, what they're doing at AMC and how they're doing. They drove Sears, Blockbusters, Toys R Us, and now they're trying to drive AMC out of business. I don't. Yeah, I think George really summed it up nicely there. I think when you have bigger money, you're gonna have a bigger crash, a bigger result. And you have bigger investors, you're able to crash a company like that. Where a lot of these OTCs are just startups. They're not going to waste time with that because there's not as much money to make. So that's why I say, like, what do I think? Anything could be shorted. You know what I mean? It's just the degree and the level to which it's shorted. So I don't think that you're going to see anything like that. I don't think there's any big investor that says, I'm going to go after a pink sheet company today and just crash it. You know, people play that game all the time on Stock Twitch. They try to influence things, you know, with the FUD or whatever. But I don't see, like, from the investment standpoint, that happening in the OTC to that magnitude, because the companies aren't of that magnitude yet. If that makes sense, I guess I hope I'm explaining that properly so you understand it. I mean, that's because that's how I conceive it in my head. But you know, when they get bigger, yeah, I think Ilus, you know, when they go to NASDAQ and they have, you know, multi-billions of dollars, yeah, I absolutely think that there could be a short attack on Ilus, you know, but they're not even at that level yet. I think when they do, and they're going to be, they're already building that multi-billion conglomerate, and you could see it in what they're doing with QIND, you know. And so for those of you that are confused and watching, it is directly related to Ilus. So the better QIND does, the better Ilus does. The better when ERT launches the NASDAQ, you want that to do well, especially, you know, in regards to lockup and how we're going to retain Ilus shares or ERT shares or whatever that may be. I know we're waiting on the lockup. We'll see what happens with that. But you want these subsidiaries to do, you know, I'm trying to think of a big parent company. Like, is Pepsi a parent company? And it's like rooting against one of their subsidiaries. You don't want to root against the subsidiary. The subsidiary is going to all the subsidiaries prop up the parent company because they get to report all that value to their book. So now, is Pepsi the parent? Is Pepsi the parent? That's what I want to know. Or are they a subsidiary? Son of a bitch. I don't know. Let's see what we got. ERT is interesting to me, and I am looking forward to an IPO. Oh yeah, I think the IPO is going to be. If it is an IPO, it might not be an IPO. We'll see. Who knows? Hey, it's a mystery. I got 500,000. I want another 5,000 to make it 1 million and go super long. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I think 2024, 2025, CGRA is going to be riding into a bull market. Let me just keep things going here. I do want to talk a little DRCR. So let's do a little DRCR. Let's see if we have. I'll get it eventually. You just watch. I'll get it. All right, so DRCR is at 21 cents. I liked this one at 18. I wish you could have grabbed it when it dipped down to 13, 12 or 13 it was. This is a completely undervalued company. I didn't attend the annual shareholder meeting. That was right before the Ilus meeting. I was busy having breakfast down by the ocean. But because I was very excited about Ilus. I wish I would have went, though, looking back, just so I could have got more information. But this is one I do plan on investing in as well in the next month or so, if things allow. But Egals sums it up very nicely here. DRC, our total revs 24.4 million versus the forecasted 14 million. The net revenues after cost of services 2.2 million. 1,500% increase year over year. Profitable they are. Yes, they are, and that's what you want to see. Assets 5.2 million, 240% increase, and a float of only 14.7 million. This thing is going to move, and when it moves, watch out. The projection for this year is 100 million. So if they exceeded their projection in 2022, I hope and I would assume that, given their leadership, that they are going to exceed in 2023. But that's just my opinion, just based on what they're doing. So, well, another one. So what do you guys think? Any comments or thoughts on DRCR?
Yeah, I got to meet James at the shareholders meeting afterwards, down at the Trump Hotel bar. Great gentleman, another judge of character there. He's been good friends with Nick for a long time, Nick Link, and both of them go way back, and just the way that he spoke with Nick and his you know, relations with him, and how Nick is just like a go-getter, and just loves making businesses successful, and I know that they own 10 million shares of Drcr, so I know that there's going to be some crossover there. Nick Link's heavily invested and with influence and money, so I think that is going to be a crossover with Cgra as well, with the boxing. Betting obviously goes hand in hand, so I'm really excited about that one. And when you look at the revenues and the profitability of a software company, yeah, look out.
That's great. George, you have Drcr, don't you? If I'm correct. Did we lose George? I don't think we did.
Because from pretty early on, Ilus was clear about owning 10 million shares of Drcr, and it had a limited float. And so I said, you know what? I already have exposure to this through Ilus. But then I just started buying shares up by themselves because, again, just like Ilus, at these prices, it's buying dollars for pennies, and it's going to turn out to be a really good deal, I think, in the short to medium term future. So.
Right on. I'm going to keep it going because I have a couple more stocks I want to get through. And I actually had you muted. I apologize. I hit the wrong button. I put him in the waiting room, and I never put Jordan Hugga in the waiting room. I apologize about that. So the first couple seconds of your answer got cut off. So I apologize. Just the learning curve here. Let me just keep going on here. I want to discuss Rite and Dvlp. Actually, there are a lot of passionate Dvlp shareholders, and it appears that this one is completely undervalued. So let me get into this. Boom. All right. But first, I want to talk Rite. Just quickly. So I did get 1 million shares of this for free. I skimmed off of Igpk, and like I said, I'm trying to line up these just lotto plays for when the bull market returns, and just hope for the best. So there's nothing of substance that I'm finding here. They do have their annual report filed, but it's sort of a waiting game. So the rumor with this one was that there was a merger. So we'll see if there is or not. Their Twitter feed, their last tweet was January 18th. I didn't know if it was something below that. We will be updating our followers soon, and they're looking ahead for a great first quarter. Well, we haven't heard nothing yet. Furthermore, so it's sort of a waiting game. So we'll see what happens with that one. I mean, I'm not worried about it. It's a total lot of play, but we'll see what happens. It's just gonna be fun to watch. And this is Miracle Investors Twitter handle. So at Miracle Investor, if you get a chance, subscribe to his Twitter. All right. Now, Miracle, I gotta say, you did this packet for INQD. I know we're gonna actually have you back on to discuss this thing. Is there anything you want to say about INQD at this point?
Yeah, for sure. So kind of an update. There may be some of you guys in the chat. Thanks for showing up. I know I got to take off here pretty soon, so I wanted to kind of get into a little bit about it, but I like to go into a little bit more thorough, in-depth kind of speculation and all that kind of stuff. I have a nice little DD packet here for us that we can go through. So if there are some INQD investors in the chat, make sure you comment on this video or give a like to some of the content to eRock, and we'll get that going for you guys. Maybe around 420. We'll see.
Yeah,
But,
that sounds great.
Yeah. So kind of the rundown right now, if you guys want to dig into a little bit, congratulations first off to the Igpk investors. Looks like things are kind of turning around for you guys. We're waiting on a merger with Leslie Boxscore. He is the CEO, and we're waiting on a merger with his personal company called Electrum Partners. And they've been going for a long time. There's Leslie right there. He has an extensive background in the marijuana industry. He has connections to the government for lobbying for laws, and has given a lot of research and education to government. So that's kind of a cool tie there. Got great board members recently added. That was some PRs that released on INQD that you can dig into that. I would definitely check out Keith. He's got quite the credentials. But the exciting thing that is with Electrum Partners, that's his business, many owners there. And one of the speculations I'm excited about is the fact that they own Deep Roots Harvest over there in in Nevada, and they do quite good in revenue. They have 120 million. They were offered 120 million for it in the first half of 19, and I know they developed their business since then. So that alone, if you look at the market cap of INQD, that is pretty small considering if that could maybe be merged into that. So right now it's all speculation. Leslie Boxcore is very valued in his ways of keeping things airtight and sealed the information until time is ready or he compliance with regulations and things like that. So when he does speak, people listen, and there's quite a big following with this company. Goes back all the way to 2-3 years ago that some of these guys been holding, waiting for this this thing to go through. So it's a lot of the timing, the market overall with the marijuana sector because of laws and regulations and the Safe Banking Act that we're trying to get passed for a long time. But the Farm Bill of 18 was a big step in the right direction. So we're moving there, state by state, legislation by legislation, lobbying. You know, it takes time. They say that government won't make the right decision until it's the last decision. So we'll wait on that. But that's
Right
my
on.
little synopsis quickly of
Yeah.
that. My DD packet is available on, I got it pinned on my social media there on Twitter. And if you guys like this content, you want me to cover it further, I got a lot of information about this one. I'm really excited about it for a long term. Short term, we're just waiting on that merger that could be up to about 5 months out still. So we'll see
And I
how that
just
is.
put that in the description below.
Oh, yeah,
Or
okay.
not in the description. I always say that. The comment section. I put that Google Doc right there for you guys. So if you want to take a look at that, have at it. And like he just said, he's going to come back on, and we're going to break this thing down pretty nicely.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Tim, Eaton, I'll get back to that question in a second. So quickly, I did want to talk Dvlp. All right. This is one that is it's on my list, and I think it's very undervalued, especially what they've done in December. And this is one I'm going to be covering more of. And so they're sitting at 0037. They did have to file late, obviously. So another one that is going to be filing late. So in the next 2 weeks, we're going to get the filing. So this thing might dip down a little bit, but like Miracle said earlier, you could have great news and it goes down, and bad news and it goes up, and it's just sort of this thing is just sort of hard to predict, So it's just one of those things. 5.1 million market cap and a float of 500 a half billion. So let's get into this now. I had a couple people reach out to me now. Dvlp. I actually a lot of these things were brought to me by. He sent me an email. SD Loans Finder, Falky Trading. If you get a chance and you're in Dvlp, add him to your Twitter. All right, make sure you do that. And another person, that Mr. Hobbs, has put out a ton of information on Dvlp. And so this is what I'm looking to get into. Dvlp audited fins are coming soon. In the last 10K, that 4 acquisitions from last Q total 100 million in revs. See below. All right. The recent 4 specialty pharmacy acquisitions in 2022 have capacitated the company's service offerings to the state of Michigan and Florida with a consolidated revenue of $100 million. Okay, so like we're talking about, we're talking about these companies that are adding value and just building in what are not the nicest of conditions. So if revs stay as below and with no acquisitions, minimum in my opinion, 88.2 million, market cap now laughable at 5.1 million at 0036. And so, I'm going to put the link to their filings. There should be something with Dvlp of their latest article that I put in the description. So check these guys out. Give these guys a follow. If you are into this stock, follow Oilerman Hockey, Mr. Hobbs, and follow SD. Where'd he go? Falky Trading, SD Loans Finder. And like I said, I just got all this information yesterday, more specifically in that email. So I'm going to cover these guys more. There's a lot to be excited for. And so this is their latest PR, which I've put in the description. So listen, read this stuff. You got to read this stuff. I really arm yourself with knowledge. That's the most important thing you could do. And that way, at the end of the day, when the shit hits the fan, you could just look yourself in the mirror and say, good job. No, but seriously, because we've all been there. Right here says the company has achieved unaudited December 2022 sales of 5.6 million, with the largest customers still to be onboarded, and they couldn't do this in the fourth quarter. So it says also expect significant increase in revenues after the 4 previously announced acquisitions are fully transitioned. During this final processes of transitioning and onboarding customers, we expect a brief dip in Q1 sales, followed by a robust rebound acceleration. After completed, the company will again begin to acquire more acquisitions in the special pharmacy market, which also will become another event that should further increase company revenues, helping it reach its 2023 goals. And so, I'm glad that they're taking their time with the acquisitions that they're working with right now. And they're abiding by their business model, as he says here. We're very excited about this business model, the industry, and our future plans. The demand for product and the ability to scale are very promising. So this one should be on your list. I will be getting an entry in this. If it ends up dipping in this week, I'm waiting for about 2.8, 2.9, and then I'm gonna hit it. So that's what I got for that one. So I don't know. I'm gonna do just a video for Dvlp. I'm gonna do a video just for INQD. Hopefully, Miracle, you will be involved in that one as well. That'd be great. Let me get this out of here. But no, seriously, any INQD nation in the chat. So hopefully, and listen, if you're watching the replay of this, okay, there's something weird. Jord, you're getting removed, and I don't know why. I think I know why.
Yeah, that's why.
You know why? It's because of when I think it could only have 2 people on. I don't know.
No, it's on my side for sure. If I move out of the screen or do anything, which I just naturally do all the time, it instantly just cuts it out. It doesn't just like close it down where it'll open it right back up. So then I have to log back in.
I thought I was doing you wrong, man. I apologize.
No. Own goal.
Man, all right, guys. Listen, I thank you so much for joining in. Miracle, I know that you have a lot to do. You got a meeting, and I gotta say, we're gonna do this more often. I'm gonna be bringing people in. I'm gonna be bringing in, like I said, I'm looking forward to having JPN. Brett Rosen said he would come on the show. I would like him to get on with Mark Schmidt, which would be I did put it out there, and one thing that I could say to anybody watching this, if you are a part of any company, if you want to come on here, you have an open platform to educate shareholders or potential shareholders. This isn't a hostile channel, though I will ask some tough questions. I really want to do right by the shareholders and potential shareholders, because there are so many gems of small companies out there that I think are going to really explode, especially in 2024 and 2025. And some of these guys are laying the foundation. You look at CYBL with the government contracts. You look at 3DX with what they're doing, expanding with getting that new certification. You look at Ilus. You look at QIND. You look at the work orders that QIND has. Igpk now looking like they're going to expand even further. Dvlp with what they've done in December. I could go on and on and on with these. This is freaking exciting. I know people just tuning in are like, "Oh, the economy's not exciting." No, it sucks. It's awesome because now we could go out. We could go sale shopping. Any closing comments, Miracle Investor?
Yeah, I guess short term and long term, all looking good for me with my plan. The one that I'm looking at short term and long term is QIND. I'm very, very excited about them, and so much we could talk about with that. The order book is probably the one thing that stands out the most for me when we're talking about recession and uncertainty, and having an order book that's multiple hundreds of millions potentially and growing is something that I can feel safe about having my money in. So that's something that I would take a look at. If you guys don't know about QIND, the shareholders meeting, they were talking about revenue of close to, I think it was 200 was their projection during the shareholder meeting for 2023. So look at the shareholder price and the assets they hold. And if they do get uplisted, that's going to be rubber stamping it for 300 million valuation. So the numbers are there. I mean, they don't lie. We're taking a look at the fins, and I think that's going to be really exciting, seeing that also duplicated onto Ilus's numbers. So I'm pumped.
I was just going to say that. I'm like, if they're doing this with one, and they do this with ERT, and we talk about Hyperion, and we talk about all these different subsidiaries, Ilus, that's it. That's it.
Enough said.
Jordan, final thoughts.
Well, of course, it's nice to see the two of you, and I wish I was hanging out with you both and having a plate of chicken wings and a beer. But No, I'm super grateful for all the hard work Ilus has done. The Discord, all the people that have been on this journey. This is the hardest part. This is when you have to buck the trends and go against what it seems like the popular opinion is, which is that this stock's doing terrible. That's why the stock price is going down. And rather than viewing it as an opportunity to buy an excellent company at a fair value, as long as you're willing to wait a couple of years. And of course, we all hope that it happens faster than that. But if you set realistic goals and then you have the ability to invest money that you can lose and B, expect to be tied up for a long time, I think it just makes the emotional journey a lot less difficult. And I think that helps keep newer investors invested. And when you make mistakes, try to learn and grow from them so that you don't make them again.
Right on. I agree with you. So thank you guys. Thank you for joining Miracle Investor. Jordan,
Thanks for having me.
Dude, it was great having
Yeah,
you
it was
guys.
great, man. Thanks, guys.
All right, you guys take it easy, and we'll definitely do this again in a couple weeks. All right, and you know what? Thanks to everybody that has watched. And I got to answer Tim. Tim, I actually just did a video, that most recent video I did with that Q&A. It was about a week and a half ago. I did with JP. I actually brought in about the mist nozzle, and he did talk about how ERT is pretty much going to be the avenue. If they get that acquisition, which is set for 60 million, which we don't know who it is yet. I think it's a Rev company that they're going to take over with the Dan Peters connection, but that's going to be the vehicle that really drives, especially the marketing in the U.S. markets for that mist nozzle technology. So make sure you go back and look at that video. I have a lot of going, in the works, and I'm always I have a lot of questions for these guys. I'll keep asking the questions. When you guys give me the questions, I'll bring it right to them. And you know what? When I have JP on, when I have Gene on, when I have Brett Rosen on, when I have Mark hopefully on again live, when I have these guys on, you guys will be able to ask these questions, and we're going to have some great open dialogue, and we're all going to learn a lot together. I'm looking forward to having Sam Aker on in the next week or so he could teach us the ins and outs of an annual report, what to look for, what to avoid. And I think this is going to be just a funnel time. That's all I got for you guys. Remember, there's more that binds us than breaks us. You guys have an amazing Sunday. We will see you throughout the week. Let's go.